In 2018, press releases from major news sources started popping up, such as the ones presented here, talking about a new typeface called Sans Forgetica. Sans Forgetica is a font that was developed by a team of researchers that included marketers, psychologists, and graphic designers. In these news articles, it was claimed that Sans Forgetica is a desirable difficulty due to the perceptual characteristics of the typeface. Letters in the typeface are backslanted and have intermittent gaps, which makes the typeface disfluent. And this leads to increased processing or higher level processing of the to-be-learned material, which leads to a memory benefit. There's just one problem with this claim. The experiments reported in the news articles have not been empirically vetted. To date, there's no publicly available data, there's no preprint, nor have the experiments been published. In the current set of experiments, we wanted to examine if Sans Forgetica is really desirable. In experiment 1, we examined if there's a mnemonic benefit for Sans Forgetica in queued recall. In this experiment, we used 22 weakly related pairs. We allocated half of the participants to the generate condition and half of the participants to the Sans Forgetica condition. In the generate condition, we had a disfluent condition where individuals were presented targets with missing vowels and individuals had to generate a response. In the fluent condition, individuals just had to read the target. In the Sans Forgetica condition, in the disfluent condition, targets were presented in Sans Forgetica, whereas in the fluent condition, individuals just had to read the target, and the target was presented in normal fluent Arial font. After a brief distractor task, individuals completed a queued recall test, where individuals had to type in what they thought the target was. Looking at the results, we observed a large generation effect, but we didn't observe a Sans Forgetica effect. So in experiment 1, to answer the initial question, is Sans Forgetica desirable for learning? Not for queued recall. In experiment 2, we looked at prose recall. We used the 800-word passage on groundwater. During the study phase, individuals were allocated to either a pre-highlighted condition, where some of the sentences were pre-highlighted, an unmodified condition, where none of the sentences were modified, and then a Sans Forgetica condition, where some of the sentences were presented in Sans Forgetica. During the test phase, individuals were presented with sentences from the passage, and they had to provide a response and say what the missing word was. Looking at the results, we observed a pre-highlighted memory effect, where accuracy was greater for the pre-highlighted than the unmodified text. We didn't observe a difference between the pre-highlighted and the Sans Forgetica text, but evidence for that was pretty weak. And then critically, we didn't observe a Sans Forgetica effect, so we didn't observe a difference between Sans Forgetica and the unmodified condition. So in experiment 2, we didn't observe a mnemonic benefit for prose recall. In experiment 3, we looked at recognition memory, so we wanted to see if the criterion test matters. In this experiment, during the study phase, individuals were presented with words that were presented in Sans Forgetica and Arial font. And the study phase was self-paced. After a brief distractor, individuals were presented with stimuli, and they had to decide if the stimulus that was presented on the screen was old or new. Looking at the results, we did not observe a Sans Forgetica effect in recognition memory. D prime between Arial font and Sans Forgetica font were equivalent, and there was strong evidence for this, according to the Bayes factor. So in sum, with over 800 participants across 3 experiments, we didn't find any evidence for a Sans Forgetica memory effect. And this converges with recent findings by Taylor et al. Across several studies and a large sample size, they also did not find a Sans Forgetica effect. We did find that generation and pre-highlighting did enhance memory. So our main conclusion is that if you want to remember more and forget less, you should use evidence-based techniques such as testing or spacing, and forget Sans Forgetica. If you're interested in more details about the experiments I just talked about, please check out our paper in memory. Thank you.